Hello, Assalamu alaikum everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And yes, once again, I kind of delayed talking about Iran and Israel. And again, it's for the same reason because number one, I have been predicting America and Israel going on an all out war in the Middle East, Gulf region, and in other countries with other countries. And those of you who thought that, oh, she's just saying it, well, I think those are the actual fools in the world, because anybody who has two cells to rub together in their brain would know that this was very obvious. So it was literally me stating the obvious for a very long time. So here we are. We've got Israel attacking Iran. Now, it wasn't enough that Israel attacked the former ruler of Iran. That wasn't enough. No, that they attacked him and killed him. Now they've decided to go and attack the top army officials, and then they are again trying to target the current ruler of Iran. Amazing. And from what I've understood, they are also trying to target Khomeini. And you're sitting there and wondering, okay, on Trump's birthday, Netanyahu, after weeping, crying blood because Iran decided to attack back, because their scientists were killed, and the fact that Israel literally had the gall, it had the nerve to say that it was fighting for freedom. Now, where did we actually hear that? Let me see. When America decided to whip up the 9/11 scheme and then create a false narrative around it, and then used that in order to attack all the countries but the country that it actually claimed was behind it. Yes, Saudi Arabia. Remember how they claimed that Saudi Arabia had something to do with 9/11, and yet they went around attacking and dragging all the other countries, especially Muslim countries, into this war except Saudi Arabia. That was amazing, wasn't it? They decided to launch an attack on Afghanistan. They decided to bring out all their Blackwater mercenaries into Pakistan. They decided to use Pakistan as their battlefield. They decided to drag Pakistan into their war. They forced us to fight their war. They forced us to do their dirty deeds. And they paid us in the name of US aid. Remember, whenever you hear of US aid, understand that this is actually America paying the other country's government for doing all its dirty deeds, or for using a soil to do all its dirty deeds. Pakistan wasn't the only country, as I said. There were many other very important Muslim countries that they used and abused in that whole process. And then they lied about Iraq, if you remember, saying that, oh, they have WMDs, oh, Saddam is using chemicals against his people, and this and that. It was all a lie. And once again, what did they say? Oh, we're fighting for the freedom. We're fighting for a free world. Yes. Only a fool would actually believe that shit. And we only have the Western world that is fool enough to believe that shit. Also, the Western world, when they realized that it was all bullshit, and when they tried to raise their voice against the whole thing, tell me, how successful were you? I'm talking here to the Western world, the mass, who think that they are a powerhouse of democracy. They think that they are, the epitome of the free world, and they show that there's the power of the people, and that the government has no choice but to listen to the people, the voice of the people, blah, blah. What happened? Please tell me what happened. You still failed to stop your government from attacking Iraq. And at the end, you apologized. You are always apologizing. You're always on the wrong side of history. And then you're always apologizing, especially America. And Britain. Britain is that really sly, cunning fox that is always behind America, but it pretends that it has nothing to do with anything. But it is actually the one behind America. It's amazing. And then suddenly you create this myth that, oh, ISIS was created in Iraq because it was the aftermath of whatever America did, and now we have to fight that. Bullshit. ISIS is officially, and very officially, you can actually check it. It is in every research site or every archive that you can go to. you would know that ISIS is actually the official name of the joint task force of MI6, CIA, and Mossad. Yes, that's called ISIS, by the way. Amazing, isn't it? How they don't even bother to change the names of their joint task forces or of their mission groups or whatever you like to call them, or the covert ops, and yet all they do is that they use those, rebrand them in front of the world by saying, oh, these are of course your terrorist outfits, but tell the world what exactly you are, or should I say, tell the world who exactly you are. Yes, I'm glad that you accept and admit that you are terrorist outfits, but then tell the world that you are terrorist outfits belonging to the Western governments. France has been going around committing terrorism in Africa just so that it can continue to steal their resources. Yeah, understand that as well while you're at it. And then you've got the UK and America and Israel, who have always been together at causing genocidal schemes all over the world, offing top leadership all over the world. And then India thought, India, the ever, now if there is any fool bigger than America, because America is actually not a fool, Americans are the fools, but India is a bigger fool. And I'm talking about the Indian government, because despite the fact that I've always loved one thing about the Indian government, and that is it never allows anything or anyone to go against its national interests. But at the end of the day, especially when you have Modi right now, you see how India is being a bigger fool while it's allowing itself to be used by these Western powers, thinking that it's part of the team. Remember how I sort of gave the example of a group of bullies, where there's that one bully in that group of bullies who's actually a bullied bully. So he's basically a bullied victim himself, but he is, made to think that he's part of the group as long as he commits certain tasks for that group, and that is to become the bigger bully, to do all the other bullying for the group of bullies, right? Get what I'm saying? So that is it. That is India, the ever stupid India that seems to think that, oh yeah, because UK owes us this promise that it made, that it allowed us to keep certain parts of Pakistan illegally. You have Assam, you have Bihar, and then you have Kashmir, and you have one or two other cities. And then it wasn't enough that India took over those cities with the help of the UK, despite the fact that they were supposed to be part of Pakistan. But no, they are expecting the whole of Pakistan to go back and remain as a buffer state, an autonomous region under the Indian umbrella, because that is what was promised when Pakistan was, and I quote here, allowed to be made. How stupid. Really, how stupid. Obviously, yes, I mean, they are probably thinking it's going to, the possibility seems to be more and more potential, in the sense that because now you've got your army, the Pakistani army, that is now openly, full-fledgedly committing treason against the state of Pakistan. And then you've got the leadership of Pakistan that has been very openly planted once again by the Americans. And again, this leadership is openly committing treason. Remember, it very openly defied the public mandate as it sat upon their thrones. And now again it denied the public mandate. So it's denied the public mandate twice. Two elections took place and it's denied them both, or defied them both. And again, I would say that our people are to blame, that for 70 years we were hijacked. We knew we were hijacked, and yet we sat and watched the train wreck, And so I would always say that yes, our people deserve whatever it is that's coming to them, as long as they're sitting on their haunches. And again, it is the overseas Pakistanis who seem to have their eyes wide open and who are actually trying to do something about it, because the ones sitting here in Pakistan are absolutely useless. As I said before, no amount of protest is going to help you. We have to work in a mob strategy, okay? That's the only way you can get these bozos out of our country, or actually kill them, because this is, as long as they're alive, I'm sorry, but as long as they're alive, Pakistan will always be in danger. It's as simple as that. We have to revamp the whole military organization. We have to revamp the whole intelligence organization, all of them, in fact, not just the ISI. We have to revamp all the intelligence bureaus and organizations. We have to revamp the very foundation of the bureaucracy of Pakistan. This is something I've been saying since the time when Imran Khan won the elections. Right before that, in fact, I've been saying this even before that the only way we can stabilize this country. But I know that the fact that Imran Khan was unable to revamp the whole system right from scratch was because he also knew that this is a very, 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 very big, very time consuming task, and it would take years. So he thought, okay, let's just start from the top instead of breaking everything down and starting from the bottom. But of course, that is also what got him ousted, because at the end of the day, as I said, the least he should have done was at least to recruit the people, his own people, in the strategic positions in order to get his work done. Instead, he made the very big mistake of trusting the existent bureaucracy. Why do all these other governments that have come in Pakistan, despite the fact that they have always illegally come and they've always stolen our mandates and come, why is it that they have always managed to stay? The first thing that they do is that they remove the existent top officials of all the organizational outfits connected to and in relation with the government or the bureaucracy, and they put their own people so that they can get their work done. And I know that Imran Khan deliberately resisted that because he did not want to go on with that precedent. But I'm sorry to say, but if you wanted to get a quick job done, this was the only way to do it. And the fact that you did not do it is what is now the reason why we're all suffering here. But again, I understand and respect his decision, because I really do understand that he did not want to be like all of them, because I know at the end he didn't do anything and people were already making false claims against him. If he had done that, people would have actual concrete evidence against him that, look, he's no different from us. I get that. So yeah, kudos anyway, but we've all got effed because of that. Now, as I said, Iran versus Israel. Now, Israel and the Western world, they seem to think, I remember there was this absolutely stupid idiot moron who wrote a comment on Middle East Monitor, one of Middle East Monitor's posts on Instagram, where he was like, oh, you people are with Iran and the others. First of all, the moron had the audacity to say that, oh no, the people of Pakistan, let's just imagine, I know that they have committed terrorism and against India, and then they went and got a lot of Kashmiris killed. And I'm like, I'm a Kashmiri. You're telling that to me? I'm like, I'm a Kashmiri and I actually know people right now in occupied Kashmir, and you're telling me that you know that we committed terrorism? I'm like, let me tell you the kind of terrorism that India is committing. India is right now doing in Kashmir exactly the same thing that Israel is doing in Palestine. I'm like, were you there? Were you there? Did you see that? Didn't you see that? They're stealing their land. They're committing genocide. They're killing the young men and the children. They are violating the women. They are plundering and looting their land. They are sending Hindu extremists and making them to buy land or to steal land over there so that they can have a larger amount of Hindu settlers in Kashmir, so that they can, continue to infiltrate within Kashmir and hijack Kashmir completely. And I'm like, and the terrorism, I said, what about the terrorism committed in Pakistan all these years, especially in Balochistan and in KPK, in which it was so obvious, and there's a lot of evidence that India has been committing terrorism in Sindh, in KPK, and in Balochistan. Even recently, the train hijack in Balochistan, and then again, when we had, again, even more recently, a children's bus, a school bus, a children's bus attacked. Again, you could see the hand of Raw there. I'm like, okay, didn't anybody tell you about that? I'm like, do you want me to cite more? And then he's like, oh no, actually I wasn't there and all, but still, oh, now another story. Now he suddenly contradicted himself and said, oh, but no offense, but you people are with Iran and this and that. So, okay, right now, I'm like, okay, so now again, that person is now running away, hiding, because now he's realized the biggest gaffe he's ever made, because, hey, presto, hardly a month goes by after that comment of his against Iran and against other countries, and Israel goes and violates international laws by unprovokedly attacking the Iranian leader and then attacking the Iranian officials and then attacking the Iranian scientists and killing them all, and then attacking residential areas and pretending that, oh no, we are, they did the exact same thing that India did. India came and attacked the civilians of Pakistan, and then they said, oh no, we're not at war with Pakistan, we were attacking strategically, we were going after certain terrorists. Which terrorists? Did you see our army go after Indians terrorists? How many times, as I've said before, how many times has India terrorized people in Pakistan? How many times have we had a lot of terrorist incidents, right from 9/11 all the way up till now, in which you had the Americans and the Indians? Both of them were responsible for 90% of the terrorism that occurred in Pakistan. In fact, 99%. And you're telling me that that was okay. So Pakistan should not have retaliated, and Pakistan never retaliated in any of those incidents, either against America or Afghanistan, because at that point Afghanistan was heavily involved too. So America, Afghanistan, and India, all these three countries were responsible for 100%. Now I will say 100%, because now enters Afghanistan, So here we have stage right. All these three countries were 100% responsible for all the terrorism activities, all the terrorism incidents that took place in Pakistan along those years, as soon as the 9/11 charade was put past the whole world. And you're telling me Pakistan, Pakistan shouldn't have retaliated, and Pakistan never retaliated. But instead, India goes and does a 9/11 copy, as in India decided to copy the 9/11 blueprint, and they did the Mumbai attacks, in which they blamed America and Pakistan for it, by the way. So that's a good twist right there. They decided to blame CIA as well, and CIA was like, excuse me, actually, some of our people were there. And in fact, if anything, we could say that our people were under attack in the Mumbai blasts. And I would say that we were the targets, if you have to go all the way there. And then there was this huge documentary that was released, in which the Indian investigators, the journalists, and the American investigators, and it basically as a whole lot of people's research put together, in which they asked a lot of questions, found a lot of loopholes, and they kind of proved something that I already knew. As I said, anybody who has brains would know that this was a staged attack. This was a false flag operation by India, And so again, India, Israel, and America, they're always looking for reasons to attack other countries. They lie to their citizens, they attack other countries. But when the other countries decide to respond in kind, then suddenly they start crying blood. Oh, excuse me, as long as you attack another country, you have attacked that country. You cannot say that you were attacking a particular terrorist or you were attacking a particular... Pakistan has had the miserable record, and I would call it miserable because I think that is why people have taken us so easy. We've had the record of always catching spies, American murderers, Indian murderers, and spies, and we have always returned them. But our civilians were falsely arrested by both these countries. They were tortured, they were kept in prison, they were detained illegally and unlawfully, and most of them till date have never been returned. And they were civilians. They weren't even in any category of terrorists. And there we are. Remember Afia Siddiqui? Yeah, the one who was very strangely abducted. First she was abducted, and then they decided that she was a terrorist. And then they humiliated her, and then they separated her children from her, and then they put her children illegally in 3 different homes. It took her sister a very long time. It took Imran Khan, it took another journalist, it took a human rights activist of Pakistan, and it took her sister. It took all of them to, first of all, highlight the fact that Afia Siddiqui was kidnapped and then she was illegally and unlawfully detained by the Americans, first in Afghanistan in one of their black sites, and then taken to America. And she did not undergo any actual trial or anything. And when finally she got a lawyer, and that lawyer has been till date banging their head on about how her rights were violated, how she was violated, how she has not had a single day in which she hasn't suffered at the hands of them, and it was all illegal. First of all, they denied her existence. They denied even having her. If Imran Khan and the journalist and the human rights activist that was, brought in by them, if they hadn't made so much noise, then the famous grey lady, the phantom grey lady, would never have even made the books in history. Nobody would have known of her existence. So, and she was a student, by the way. She was doing her doctorate. She was a student. She was an intellectual. You want to call brain drain? That's a brain drain. So when you're strategically arresting or harassing or detaining or killing or targeting people from the academics, people who are scientists, people who are civilians, then you don't get to say that you're fighting for the freedom of the world or for the freedom of democracy or for a free world. No, no, no. You have literally violated and vilified the whole concept of the free world just by this act itself. If you were truly, truly working on something, first of all, you would never go and attack another country unannounced, unprovoked. You wouldn't go and kill their leadership, which is something the Americans and the Israelis and the British have a history of doing. Okay? And secondly, you do not attack civilians, which is again what these three countries have been doing. They have been committing genocide. They committed genocide in Bosnia when the world found out. Then suddenly they pretended that they were on the other side, when actually the Americans worked with and trained the Serbs and gave them even weapons to commit genocide in Bosnia, by the way. And the British, who were pretending to be silent, they were accomplices. Okay, so the Americans and the British, they were literally the ones who were funding and weaponizing the Serbs. And then when the world found out, suddenly they just threw the Serbs under the bus and pretended that they had nothing to do with anything, and then they pretended to side with Bosnia. Like, seriously? Who do you think you're making fools out of? And then it's, rinse, repeat. They've been doing that again and again and again. Any leader that suddenly decides that they need to work for the national interest of their own country, like Saddam Hussein. So Saddam Hussein was not a cruel leader as long as he was fulfilling American needs. As long as he was pro-Israel and pro-American, he was fine. But the minute he decided that okay, it's time, he actually worked for his own country, and it's time that he not listen to America or Israel or work for their interests, then he suddenly became a cruel leader. Then he suddenly became a leader who was throwing chemicals on his citizens who went against him. Then he became suddenly this big gangster, who was terrorizing his people. Yeah. Haven't we heard this story again and again and again and again? Be it Fidel Castro, be it Saddam Hussein, be it Napoleon, be it, anybody, Hitler, be it anybody. So the whole world, is bad. Iran is bad, China is bad, Russia is bad, Africa is bad, Asia is bad, Pakistan's bad, Middle East is bad, everybody's bad, right? But the ones committing genocide, they're not bad. No, they're working for a free world. What kind of a free world is it where people who want to go about their own businesses, who want to have their own religions, who want to have their own cultures, are being targeted and attacked? You're being targeted and attacked because you decided to become a secular country and decided to follow communism. Then you've been targeted and attacked because you're an Islamic Republic country. Then you've been targeted and attacked because you have a cleric as a leader. Then you're targeted and attacked because you have an educated man as a leader who refuses to allow you to use his soil, to commit murder and to wage wars in Asia. And then you are again attacked or targeted when you refuse to have your resources stolen, especially at the risk of your children's lives. You've been targeted and attacked because you've decided to have your own laws, and to take care of your own country and to look at your own national interest. You've been targeted and attacked because you're getting technologically advanced. You've been targeted and attacked because you have nuclear energy. You've been targeted and attacked because you have a very strong network of how do I put it this way now? A very strong network of intelligence and military outfits. And then you've been targeted and attacked because you are not ready to get involved in their genocidal plans. Wow. So basically, you're being targeted and attacked for not being anywhere near or not doing anything, or not. Basically, you're just being targeted and attacked for defying slavery, because it is slavery. Americans and the British, the French, the Europeans, Israel, they basically are fighting not for a free world. They're fighting to enslave the world. And anybody and everybody who goes against them will be killed. First, they will be vilified, then they will be slandered, they'll be dehumanized, and then they'll be killed. And every single time the Western world, the people, they fall for it. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how stupid you people are. Every single time you fall for this bullshit. Like, seriously? Every single time. And then you call yourselves educated just by borrowing the laws and the infrastructural motives, or the architectural motives, or the intellectual motives, or the academic motives of the Muslim world or of other worlds, and trying to incorporate it into your own country. That doesn't make you educated. It doesn't make you cultured, and it certainly doesn't make you, it doesn't increase your IQ level. Let's put it this way. Once a fool, always a fool. And if you're a fool, you deserve to be fooled. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And that's exactly why I would say shame on you all. The Western public that is so stupid that it actually allows itself to be fooled over and over again. And as I've said repeatedly now, the point towards which you are dragging the world, this will only end in your own demise, your own destruction, because this time no apology is going to make it. No apology is going to cut it, okay? This time you've gone too far. And again, don't think that you're being stupid. No. Your governments, as I've said 1,000 times before, your governments have been planning this since World War II. Yeah. When they were forced to end the World War, they were not happy. The European, the American, the European governments, they were not happy. The colonizers were not happy. And they delegated all their projects and missions to America, okay, especially the British. They delegated it to America, that, okay, now you need to get this thing done. We need to use America to very openly, very brutally, basically become the Yankee. So America's the Yankee, while the Brits are behind them pulling the strings, okay? And the French, obviously, so you've got these few European countries, and then you've got America, and you keep on thinking that, oh, Israel is again monopolizing America. How? Who do you think made Israel? The British. What's wrong with you? You think that the Israelis are basically, who are the Zionists? They're a product of the British project. So the British, because they had occupied Palestine, and then they decided, when they were literally killing the Jews in Europe, and they didn't want, and this, so this was their plan, that they had already told Rothschild that, okay, you know what, this piece of land here, and if you remember, it was against the Palestinian laws at that time for any foreigner to come and buy land. And as you know, in most Middle East, they still keep that law. This is why there is no crime rate, and this is why in the Middle East, the economy is pretty much good, and they don't easily get affected by the world recession. In fact, they don't get affected at all. It's because of these basic rules. And have you noticed how many times, every time there's a war that breaks out because of Israel, have you noticed how Saudi and the Middle East have been pressurized by the world that they should, they're so cruel, they're not allowing people to enter into their land, and this and that. Yeah. The people who are responsible for the war, the people who are responsible for displacing those people, they're the ones who need to open their doors and give those people a place, okay? The Middle East is not responsible for taking in those people who have been displaced because of Israel and America. But notice that. I mean, this is, notice how they're trying to, again, they've been trying to change that narrative, or trying to create that narrative so that they can use the people to force the Middle East to open their doors to refugees. And what exactly is behind that, understand, okay? So you want another Palestine in the rest of the Middle East in the name of opening your doors to refugees. Yeah, no, thank you. The Middle East has a reason why, okay? The only way the Middle East has been able to preserve itself all these years is because of these particular strict laws with regards to land, and with regards to allowing a certain number of people to enter their land. There's only a certain number of population is allowed to be maintained within their land for a reason. They know that they can only handle as much or so much, and that after that it could be out of control. And they are looking after their own national interests, which they have a right to. You do not have the right to force them to look after your national interests. You created this mess, you shat, you flush the toilet, you clean up your mess. You understand? So how dare you Americans and Europeans try to force other countries that have nothing whatsoever to do with the wars that you have provoked, you have incited, you have funded, and you are actually behind, and you are waging. How dare you force all those other countries that have nothing to do with it to take in the citizens of those countries that you are displacing? You're responsible. You take in those citizens. What, you thought that you will create another Rothschild and send him into Palestine and say, okay, try to buy this land? Seriously? This whole political mapping of yours? I mean, there maybe, as I said, there you have a lot of stupid people who are willingly getting brainwashed and drinking the Kool-Aid again and again and again. But that's not us. And actually, that's why you have a problem with the rest of the world, because the rest of the world actually has its eyes wide open, whereas the people who are living in your slavery, they have their eyes shut tight. Yes, the American people are no better than slaves, because they are completely stupefied by their government. They willingly remain stupefied. The Europeans, the Americans, they are stupid as fuck. And willingly so, as I said. So, fool you twice. The onus is on you, people. The onus is on you. You're actually, look at the gall. And at Trump again. I'm not even going to say how stupid is Trump. All I'll say is that once again, he is basically telling you what the American bureaucracy or the establishment has been working towards for all these decades. He's basically just saying it out loud. He's not mincing his words. He's not pretending to be somebody else. He is out and out saying it. So when he's saying that, Iran, you should stop this war, he's basically telling Iran that the Americans have planned this for so long with Israel, the British have planned this for so long with Israel, we will continue to attack any country that we want to, and no country is allowed to attack back because we control the world. We are going to recolonize all of you, and we want to own you, and nobody has the right to fight against us. You understand? So when Netanyahu was crying blood, he was basically reminding America that, remember, we're in this shit together, because guess what? You made us to actually enter into this shit with the promise that you will never leave our side. And now when we're doing this, how dare you back off? So don't think that Israel is actually ruling America, or the Israeli lobbyists or the Jewish lobbyists. I know on a political front that's how it seems, but again, as I said, if you go decades back, you would understand that when the United Nations was formed, it wasn't formed for the reasons that they say it was formed. No. It was formed to be able to keep in check and to control all the former colonies, and to bide their time and to make it easier for them to recolonize, which is now what they're doing. They're taking steps to do that, and they're using America and Israel. America and Israel are at the forefront when you have the British and the French at the back. The French are in between cooperating, and in between they're going on their own rampage or agenda. But do not think that they're not working together. They definitely are working together. Because as I said, when the UN was formed, it was with this tacit understanding that we have to complete this. Nobody was happy, as I said, when they had to pull out after World War II. And since then, they have been working together towards this point, which is again something that I have been saying for quite some time. And as you can see, it's now coming to pass. It's all coming to pass. And so you're telling me that Trump is all kinds of stupid when he stands and he tells Palestine, oh, stop that war. So in other words, let Israel keep on attacking you, let Israel keep on committing genocide, but Hamas has no right to retaliate. Wow. And now you're doing the same thing. You're telling Iran that, oh, stop it. How can Iran stop it? Who started it? The person who starts it is the one who needs to stop it. You need to tell Israel to stop it. So understand what he's actually trying to say. He's trying to tell Iran, stop defending yourself. That's what he's saying. He's saying, stop defending yourself, because we are not going to back off. And Israel is going to conquer you at the end. We are going to place our people in Iran at the end. We have worked for this for decades. Remember, how many times has America and how many times has Israel, how many times have the both of them tried to cause an upheaval in Iran and failed very miserably? And the fact that it was only possible now after they killed the former leader and this new leader came, understand that now it also sorts of creates suspicions against the new leader. Is he just incompetent, or is he indeed the one who America wanted in place? Because remember, America has very openly said it, that now we will get a more pro-American, more pro-Israel, a more friendly government in Iran with whom we can work together. So is this the person who they had in mind? That is very convenient that as soon as he comes, in Iran, you have Israelis who have entered, who within Iran assembled their weapons, and within Iran they targeted the scientists and the top leadership of the army. You're telling me that Iran is in shock? I think anybody who had any brains would have expected something to happen in Iran after the killing of the former leader, because the former leader was so vigilant and he was so meticulous that he did not allow a bird astray in the country. And that was their frustration. And they've been trying to target him for a very long time, when they failed in at least 4 revolutionary attempts against him. So basically what America, what Britain, what Israel, what basically they want is to recolonize their world. And also what they basically want is that nobody should gain power. Nobody should gain power in their own right. No country should be allowed to be more powerful. No country should be allowed to have access to technology. No country should be allowed to be a truly developed, rich country. No country is allowed to be 100% sovereign or independent. No country is allowed to be free. So, what America and Britain and Israel are fighting for is not a free world. They're fighting against the free world. And anybody and everybody who's trying to defend the free world becomes an enemy of the Americans, of the British, the French, and the Israelis. You need to understand that. This is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.